Today we're continuing to read The Pilgrim's Progress. The way also was here very wearisome through dirt and slabbiness, nor was there on all this ground so much as one inn or victualling house therein to refresh the feebler sort. Here therefore was grunting and puffing and sighing, while one tumbleth over a brush, another sticks fast in the dirt, and the children, some of them, lost their shoes in the mire, while one cries out, I am down, and another, Ho, where are you? And a third, the bushes have got such fast hold on me, I think I cannot get away from them. Then they came at an arbor, warm and promising much refreshing to the pilgrims, for it was finely wrought above head, beautified with greens, furnished with benches and settles. It also had in it a soft couch, whereon the weary might lean. This, you must think, all things considered, was tempting, for the pilgrims already began to be foiled with the badness of the way, but there was not one of them that made so much as a motion to stop there. Yea, for aught I could perceive, they continually gave so good heed to the advice of their guide, and he did so faithfully tell them of dangers, and of the nature of dangers when they were at them, that usually when they were nearest to them, they did most pluck up their spirits, and hearten one another to deny the flesh. This arbor was called the slothful's friend, on purpose to allure, if it might be, some of the pilgrims there to take up their rest when weary. I saw then in my dream that they went on in this their solitary ground, till they came to a place at which a man is apt to lose his way. Now, though when it was light their guide could well enough tell how to miss those ways that led wrong, yet in the dark he was put to a stand. But he had in his pocket a map of all ways leading to, or from the celestial city. Wherefore he struck a light, for he also never goes without his tinder box, and takes a view of his book or map, which bids him be careful in that place to turn to the right-hand way. And had he not here been careful to look in his map, they had, in all probability, been smothered in the mud, for just a little before them, and that at the end of the nearest way, at the end of the cleanest way too, was a pit, none knows how deep, full of nothing but mud, there made on purpose to destroy the pilgrims in. Then thought I with myself, who that goeth on pilgrimage but would have one of those maps about him, that he may look when he is at a stand, which is the way he must take? They went on then in this enchanted ground, till they came to where was another arbor, and it was built by the highway side. And in that arbor there lay two men, whose names were Heedless and Too Bold. These two went thus far on pilgrimage, but here, being wearied with their journey, they sat down to rest themselves, and so fell fast asleep. When the pilgrims saw them, they stood still, and shook their heads, for they knew that the sleepers were in a pitiful case. Then they consulted what to do, whether to go on and leave them in their sleep, or to step to them and try to awake them. So they concluded to go to them and awake them, that is, if they could. But with this caution, namely, whether to go on, but with this caution, namely, to take heed that themselves did not sit down nor embrace the offered benefit of that arbor. So they went in and spake to the men, and called each one by his name. For the guide, it seems, did know them, but there was no voice or answer. Then the guide did shake them, and do what he could to disturb them. Then said one of them, I will pay you when I take my money. At which the guide shook his head. I will fight so long as I can hold my sword in my hand, said the other. At that, one of the children laughed. Then said Christiana, "What is the meaning of this?" The guide said, "They talk in their sleep. If you strike them, beat them, or whatever else you do to them, they will answer you after this fashion. Or, as one of them said in old time, when the waves of the sea did beat upon him, and he slept as one upon the mast of a ship, when shall I awake? I will seek it yet again. You know, when men talk in their sleep they say anything, but their words are not governed either by faith or reason. There is an unsuitableness in their words now, as there was before betwixt their going on pilgrimage and sitting down there. This then is the mischief of it. When heedless ones go on pilgrimage, 'tis 20 to 1, but they are served thus. For this enchanted ground is one of the last refuges that the enemy to pilgrims has. Wherefore it is, as you see, placed almost at the end of the way, and so it standeth against us with the more advantage. For when, thinks the enemy, will these fools be so desirous to sit down as when they are weary, and when so like to be wearied, and when so like to be weary, as when almost at their journey's end. Therefore it is, I say, that the enchanted ground is placed so near to the land of Beulah, and so near the end of their race. Wherefore, let pilgrims look to themselves, lest it happen to them, as it has done to these, that, as you see, are fallen asleep, and none can wake them. Then the pilgrims desired, with trembling, to go forward. Only they prayed their guide to strike a light, that they might go the rest of their way by the help of the light of a lantern. So he struck a light, and they went by the help of that through the rest of this way, though the darkness was very great. But the children began to be sorely weary, and they cried out to him that loveth pilgrims to make their way more comfortable. So by that they had gone a little farther, a wind arose that drove away the fog, so the air became more clear. Yet they were not off by much of the enchanted ground, only now they could see one another better, and the way wherein they should walk. Now when they were almost at the end of this ground, they perceived that a little before them was a solemn noise, as of one that was much concerned. So they went on, and looked before them, and behold, they saw, as they ought, a man upon his knees, with hands and eyes lift up, and speaking, as they thought, earnestly to one that was above. They drew nigh, but could not tell what he said. So they went softly till he had done. When he had done, he got up and began to run towards the celestial city. Then Mr. Greatheart called after him, saying, "So home, friend, let us have your company, if you go, as I suppose you do, to the celestial city." So the man stopped, and they came up to him, but as soon as Mr. Honest saw him, he said, "I know this man." Then said Mr. Valiant, for truth, "Prithee, who is it?" "It is one," said he, "that comes from whereabout I dwelt." His name is Standfast. He is certainly a right good pilgrim. So they came up one to another, and presently Standfast said to Old Honest, "Ho, Father Honest, are you there?" "Aye," said he, "that I am, as sure as you are there." "Right glad am I," said Mr. Standfast, "that I have found you on this road." "And as glad am I," said the other, "that I spied you upon your knees." Then Mr. Standfast blushed and said, "But why, did you see me?" "Yes, that I did," quoth the other, "and with my heart was glad at the sight." "Why, what did you think?" said Standfast. "Think," said Old Honest. "What should I think? I thought we had an honest man upon the road, and therefore should have his company by and by." "If you thought not amiss," said Standfast, "how happy am I! But if I be not as I should, I alone must bear it." "That is true," said the other, But your fear doth farther show me that things are right betwixt the Prince of Pilgrims and your soul. For he saith, Blessed is the man that feareth always. And that's the end of the reading for today. Have a good day.